Centennial Park in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where it's the final day of the 2022 UCI Walmart Cyclo-cross World Championships. And a gorgeous day in Northwest Arkansas, where we've got 3 races on the schedule, beginning with the junior men. And a full crowd once again coming out under the bright and sunny skies here in Arkansas today. A beautiful setting with the University of Arkansas not too far away. This is truly a college town with the Razorbacks, so much a part of the local culture, and the Ozark Mountains just surrounding this region. Arkansas Lake, a very outdoors feel, which is why the World Championships have come to this corner of Arkansas. Steve Schlanger with Tim Johnson. And Tim, as I said, the junior men are up first and should provide a pretty good set of barometers for the type of racing we're going to see all day.
And one of the favorite events for fans of cyclocross is watching the juniors do battle out on course. All kinds of energy, excitement, anticipation for these riders to represent their country at the World Championships on a course that's very, very fast, very difficult. Yesterday, watching the elite women go to the line with one of the best riders to ever throw a leg over a bike, and Marianne Voss. These riders definitely waking up, thinking back to history in the junior men. So the previous winner, Thibaut Nice, he raced yesterday in the under-23 men's field, getting a medal in 3rd position, but former world champion here, not able to defend. But look at those names, Steve. Those are some of the best riders to ever race cyclocross, and you want to put your name up there.
And Tom Pidcock, who won for Great Britain back in 2017, is one of the top favorites for the men's elite race, which will wrap up competition later on today. This race was canceled at the World Championships last year, so this is the last time they did the junior men's World Championships in Switzerland back in 2020.
So final lap, big move there. This Thibaut Nice in the blue is able to take advantage of that mistake, come across the line solo. Really a crowning achievement for a young rider with family history like he does with his father, Sven Nice, multi-time world champion and winningest cross racer on the men's side.
So after missing out last year, no junior men, no junior women contesting the World Championships. It's back for 2022. We had the junior women yesterday, along with the men's under-23 and the elite women racing. Today begins with the junior men, followed by the under-23 women, and it all concludes with the elite men's race later on today. Fayetteville, Arkansas, in the northwest corner of the state, just about in the middle of the country. South of Missouri, east of Oklahoma, surrounded by the Ozark Mountains, a gorgeous setting, and a very interesting purpose-built track specifically for cyclocross, just over 3K long and 2 miles around.
Of course, it probably could have been dreamt up by one of these junior racers lining up. This is what you dream of when you can use anything on a piece of property like this. So lots of elevation, difficult turns. We'll get a closer look in a course video, but stairs in the middle of the course called the Oz Trail stairs, really difficult to get up and over. But no, this place is built for this weekend of racing, just coming together, showing what's possible. If you build it, they will come. This is definitely Field of Dreams here in Fayetteville.
A lot of times you might have a cyclocross course that is just built within the current infrastructure of another area, but this one built specifically for cyclocross, and it'll stay after the race as a permanent structure.
Really high speed conditions. Some of the climbing that you'll see here in the junior men's race, they're going to take it so fast because it's a short, intense race. But later on this afternoon in the elite men, it's going to be a little bit of a different story over an entire hour. But some twists and turns, lots of small rises to get up and over. We'll get close to the stairs here in a second. This course preview brought to you by former teammate Jeremy Powers. He's out there. Probably one of the last times he's been on a bike. You know, he's not spending too much time with a number pinned on anymore, but started as a junior just like I did. So coming across the finish line here, and you will have a chance of getting a medal if you're lucky, and the jersey if you are the best.
The weather just about perfect, as it's 10 degrees Celsius. That's 50 degrees Fahrenheit bright, sunny, not a cloud to be found. Temperature as the day goes on should climb into the mid, maybe even the upper 50s, so the weather is ideal. The course will be hard, it'll be fast, it won't be the snow, rain, and mud. Sometimes you see it a cyclocross race. So how does that set up for some of the racers we're going to see today? How will they fare on a course that will be dry throughout the day?
Well, some of those American racers just coming through, they last raced against each other at the national championships on a course outside of Chicago that was very muddy. And name of the game there is to stay upright and not let your bike get into too much trouble, not rip a derailleur off. You know, really one of the toughest races of the year. Different story here, high speed. We'll take a look at who's lining up, and it's definitely the Belgians against one Dutch rider, and Ken Haberding's come away with the win as the favorite rider leading into it, but he's going to have his hands full.
David Haberding's number 11, the only rider for the Netherlands, but he's the big favorite. Makes it an interesting numerical and tactical battle between those individuals as well as some of these other teams with some numbers like the USA on the home soil. They will have 6 riders in the field. Canada also represented by 5 different riders. There's 34 athletes altogether from 15 different nations lining up for this men's junior race here today.
And our Irish friends lining up also. They've had a great team come over, and they, you know, hopefully will have a World Cup. Originally it was scheduled to take place outside of Dublin last year, canceled because of the pandemic, but they've made a big effort to get riders overseas. So we've got our friends over there watching, keeping an eye on how the riders are doing. And that's really the name of the game. You know, we've got usually a much bigger field in the junior events, and it's where the, you know, the proving grounds come. And you saw in the list of winners that some of the best riders in the sport have come through the junior fields.
So with the 5 Belgians that will be in the field, many of them lined up in the front row against the one rider in the orange jersey that we're about to see, David Haberding, who's the individual favorite. How's that tactical battle going to play out? How do you see it unfolding?
Well, definitely not like we saw in the elite women's race, where it was just orange all the time. So being a one-man show out there is going to have its hands full. You know, the UK rider, Smith, so, you know, he's got a great history following along with Pidcock and Mason here at, Tullett, excuse me, being world champion in juniors. That was a huge level of success reached by that program, crowning those world champions following in Roger Hammond's footsteps from 25 years ago. The French, always a great country in the junior fields. They've always done a good job both on the women's side and the men's to produce riders who are able to compete. You know, it's such a, no one really knows what to expect in a junior event. You've got riders who don't really race against each other very much coming together. You kind of have to look at what their national affiliations are, what the programs are like for each country, development, events, be able to get behind there. But the Italians having a great weekend so far. You know, winning the relay, getting a medal yesterday in the junior women's race.
So the juniors, as you mentioned, don't often get a chance to race against one another, don't get the volume of racing of the elite men and some of the other top riders in the world. Not as many World Cups, so a lot of unknowns, a lot of unpredictability with a race like this. The one thing we do know for certain, this is the biggest race of all of these riders' lives. The biggest opportunity to win the most valuable prize that they can, a rainbow jersey and a gold medal at a world championship. And now, inside of an hour away from delivering that rainbow jersey and gold medal here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the junior men about to begin the first of 3 races at the World Championships here today under sunny skies in the Ozark Mountains.
The Dutch rider Haberding's off the line really fast. He's got a lead already. See Smith there in the white right in the center of the screen. He's going to be able to get into the corner first. So not the quickest off the line, but the fastest at the end of the straightaway. always kind of a mess in these first couple of turns. Got so much energy and anticipation. A little bit of nervousness mixed in there too.
Now with dry conditions, pretty easy to get through those corners without any difficulty or any crashes. Some flat corners there, and now they dive down this descent that's almost 20% and into the woods for a series of corners, as the Canadian already, Ian Acker, having some difficulty here behind the field.
He'll be able to get back quickly, being in so early in the race, but definitely not how you want to start off your World Championship race. So being led by the British rider Smith, a field of Belgians right behind him. American rider in third position. Looks like it's going to be Jack Spranger, national champion, followed by our French rider.
And another couple of Americans there, a few other wheels back that look like they're in the first 10 to 12 places. The Americans so far have not fared all that well here at their home World Championships. So hoping on this final day to bounce back and provide a good showing. Nathan Smith of Great Britain in the white out front. Belgium in the light blue. The U.S. wearing the dark blue. And then in the orange, sitting fourth wheel, it's the outright favorite, David Haverdings, the Dutch rider who is unbeaten on the World Cup this year. He won all 4 of his races. Number 11.
So that's going to be Frank O'Reilly with the great start, actually, not Spranger. So it's number 28 in third position. And it's Corsis from Belgium in second. So this is the long approach to the climb, still hard enough on its own. You'll start to see things settle down a little bit. But very composed on the front is Smith.
Now Frank O'Reilly and also his teammate Magnus White, along with Jack Spranger for the U.S. 3 American riders in the first 10 at the moment.
Yeah, this is really the start that they're hoping for, because you want to be close. You don't necessarily need to be on the front, but you need to be nearby.
Now, this is the big climb on the course. 17% and some changes here at the front of the field. The Swiss rider making his move up to the front. Jan Christian now taking over the lead, and some separation opening up behind in the middle of the field. This is where we've seen race-winning moves before, and this signature feature on the course, the hill that'll summit right near the pits.
That hill is really kind of a punch to the gut, especially if you've been nervous about the race. You know, not sure how the first few corners will go. See this tricky section. It's given trouble to a lot of riders in the last few races, but fairly clean through all those turns. So we've got a chain issue for the young Czech rider.
That's Václav Něcek.
He's
off his bike, running it up.
He's going to be running all the way to the pit. He can grab a new one as soon as he gets there, but that time that you spend wondering if I'm ever going to make it, pretty tough for any rider to handle, especially a new one just getting going in this sport.
3 Americans all together there in 6th, 7th, and 8th right now. The Belgian now out front, and that's Aaron Das.
So that's Magnus White leading for the Americans right there. And we've got AJ August really close by. So it looks like the great start for each of those riders. And there's our Canadian getting a fresh bike, so he made it. Tough start to the event, but he'll be able to pick back up.
We've got 18 riders within 10 seconds of first place right now here on this first lap. Christian of Switzerland still out front, number 16 in the red and white, followed by Dox of Belgium in the light blue. Then in the orange, that is David Haverdings of the Netherlands.
Christian picked as one of the favorites for being up there. You know, again, it's very inexact science trying to figure out who's going to be at the front of these events, but our friends at cyclocross24.com doing a great job giving a preview of this race.
First time up the stairs. A permanent feature on this course. And this is an area where the crowd will continue to grow as the afternoon goes on. It's become one of the iconic spots on this course on both sides of the hill, opposite the stairs.
You know, Steve, these are our COVID kids. You know, they're racing as a junior with the global pandemic going on. They have not been in front of this many people, I think, ever. And you can imagine the energy that is being just shared by the crowd and these kids. What do they do with it? You know, it's such a huge force to be in the middle of. A lot of races in Europe have banned fans, you know, unable to allow anyone into the venues. The races are happening without any interaction, but
one of the two Irish riders having a mechanical issue.
Looked like he was able to get it back on. Hopefully he's on the move quickly again. But, you know, the rider in second there, Corsis, he's a first-year junior and second last week in Hama, but it's a Belgian national champion, so he's following quite big footsteps. And riders like Wout van Aert, Eliezer beat, you know, some of the riders playing a role in the sport, both on the road and in cyclocross.
How does a course like this set up for the juniors? We've talked about how the elite level riders will handle it, and as these five come to the end of their first lap, 7 minutes in, how do you think the course sets up for a junior race in particular?
Well, I think the way that traction looks, it means you can ride almost anywhere on the course and stay upright. So that kind of feeds into some of the worst tendencies of being a junior, is that you're just going for it. You know, you're trying to turn as fast as you can, you're trying to climb as fast as you can. So now I think they can really write whatever history they want, you know. You can just attack, you can late break it into a corner, trying to beat some of the other riders in your group. So I'd say it's actually really fun conditions. You know, these different groups coming through, you're either trying to get away from the group you were with or trying to catch up to the next one. That was Harkness from Ireland there, the last shot.
And still the 4 Americans in the top 12 spots within 10 seconds of the lead. 4 Americans of the 6 that started this race, so a good start for the home side. Now it's the Belgian Dox who comes to the front ahead of Christian for the Swiss squad, and then the lone Dutchman David Hardings in the front 3 as they head out on lap number 2.
So that's AJ August, 29. He just caught back onto the end of that group, so he's been moving up, you know, through the start-finish. We also saw O'Reilly make a move to jump groups. So those riders definitely having a good day.
20 riders within 17 seconds of the lead at the end of that first lap.
And they just have to stay in it. You know, this group is kind of predetermined to stick together just because, you know, the difference from the best is not very much. The conditions are so fast, so it's going to lend itself to group racing. Let's see.
Oh, there's a crash around the corner.
That's the Swiss rider going down.
And Hardings, too. The Dutch rider, the big favorite, has crashed. That's a huge moment in this race. The outright favorite to win with a heavy fall.
And it looks like he took out the American. I believe it was O'Reilly. We're going to get a replay on that. Make sure we're on top of things.
Just lost the wheel.
Yeah, so that is Spranger, number 26. So he's held up. He didn't go down, but he's definitely out of that group. He's able to get through pretty quickly. There goes O'Reilly. So that is just, you know, a mistake. It can happen to anyone. Unfortunately, being the favorite, you know, he's got all kinds of other things going through his head. And terrible timing. It's also a good timing, actually, Steve, because it is so early in the race, but gives a chance for other riders to take their shot right now, and that's going to be AJ August. Not a fast start, but he's making up for it, leading this race right now.
So he's at at the front, just ahead of Nathan Smith of Great Britain, and then Aaron Dox of Belgium. He's in the third position. Those are the front three at the moment. Hardings is back on his bike. He's in the middle of the pack, but you got to wonder how much that crash shook him up and if he's banged up at all. It's really the first significant crash we've seen of all the races here this weekend. We've seen some others go off their bike, but nothing really serious. That's the first time a rider has gone down in any meaningful way.
You know, and I was talking about having a lot of traction. You still have it. There goes Dan English, American rider getting off his bike, but able to hop right back on. You know, you have a lot of traction. What happened to the Dutch rider is that he was in a rut and he cross-rutted. So basically he was not fully inside the rut, kind of popped out of it, and for just a second, whether it was a mistake on his part or maybe he was, you know, his mind was somewhere else. It doesn't take much to hit the ground.
So he's 22 seconds back at this point. This is still the second lap. Waiting to find out exactly how many laps they will do here, but how much of a problem is it for him? He's such a strong rider. He's been the best rider in the world at the junior level. How concerned should he be?
I think that he's going to have his work cut out for him. I think that if anyone has to come from the middle of the pack, it's probably, you know, going to be him that's able to do it. But, you know, I guess that's really the issue, is that to have a perfect race, you can't make a mistake like that. You really have to stay on top of it. And if that means you go slower than you feel like you should to stay upright, then you need to make that decision. But, you know, again, he's a single rider for the Dutch team out here, coming after so much success for the rest of the squad. You know that his teammates are out there cheering for him right now on course, as well as family and friends in the Netherlands watching. So they definitely wanted to close it up. And being led still by Smith from Great Britain.
Haverding's now 32 seconds back in 24th position, and a lot of riders between him and the front of the race. He may be the strongest and best rider in this race, but that's a lot of time to make up and a lot of bodies to pass.
Looking at Lacay. Corentin Lacay is the French rider in second. So we haven't really talked about him much because he's just been solidly set in that group. He's not at the front, he's not at the back, he stayed out of trouble. That crash, but AJ August having a great start, now in fourth position at the back of this group. You can see the Swiss rider trying to still close from behind Christian. He was the rider held up in that crash, so he's going to make it back to the front group. But
yeah, it looked like that Christian was the only other rider to go down. He was right behind Hardings, couldn't avoid him. He went down, but not all that hard. Was able to quickly get back up. It was the American, Jack Spranger, who was held up, stayed on his bike. So the Swiss rider in a much better spot than Hardings of the Netherlands. Haverdings has passed a few riders now. He's back inside the top 20, but still a long way from the front. We're going to have 6 laps, and this will be the start of the third coming up momentarily, with Nathan Smith of Great Britain in the white jersey leading the way. Aaron Dox of Belgium in the light blue, number 2, sitting in second. The Frenchman in third. The American August up there, and now Christian closing the gap in the red and white for Switzerland. He is in 5th place.
as opposed to the last couple days, very calm winds out there, nothing really to speak of. So these riders just single file in a line, drafting one behind the other. And that's American rider Magnus White leading this chase group from the back. But you know, because of that, you know, without a big headwind, it's going to change how the sprint's going to go. I know a lot of riders thinking about that, but you know, I look at the lap count, Steve. 6 laps on this course is a big race. That's going to feel it. You're going to feel it in your legs. Talking to some of the riders who raced yesterday, they couldn't believe how hard it was to get up and over that hill towards the end of the race. So for a junior field, it's going to be a big day. Whoever wins this is going to be definitely the strongest.
Haverding's 27 seconds down now in 17th place as he starts this third lap. They'll be starting that hill again shortly. What is it about the juniors when it comes to tactics that'll make it difficult? They don't have the experience, the maturity of some of the older elite riders. So what kind of race does that lend itself towards?
I think a lot of riders remember what it was like racing as a junior, and it's full of those lessons. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have gone so hard. I shouldn't have tried to take a corner faster than I ever had before. And you just build that book of experience. Some riders do it very quickly. Tom Pitcock, good example, winner of this event here. His maturity into the elite level of the sport was very quick. But it's because you build that book quickly, either by watching others and making mistakes yourself. But I mean, that's the fun part about watching this. It's so there's nothing that says that a rider has to win because they're a favorite. Somebody else could have a great day and win, and it's to be expected in the junior field.
It would seem like having the patience and the presence of mind to think clearly in certain situations. This is the biggest day of their lives, largest race they've ever done. So a lot of thoughts going through your head. And then when fatigue sets in, trying to still make smart tactical decisions with a level head and not get carried away.
Yeah, as we say to young riders all the time, good luck with that, buddy.
You can think it going in, but when stuff starts flying, hitting the fan,
plans.
You take a punch, all of a sudden, things can go sideways really quickly. Haverding's trying to make up ground. He's gained a few seconds back. Now 23 seconds down, just outside the top 15 after his crash on lap 1.
It's a great course for a comeback, though. I'll say that, Steve. Because of all the elevation, it is so difficult. You can see how this group is starting to kind of thicken up. They're starting to spread out across the course. That's great for Haverding's.
Should they be thinking, all right, he's the big favorite, he's the strongest in the race, but we've potentially got him on the ropes, let's hit the drill and try to bury him?
I don't know that they're even thinking about him right now. This is a completely different race happening at the same time. So you've got Corsis with a teammate just behind him. Looks like that's number 3. That's right, Dux. Dux is number 2. Corsis number 3.
Oh, the American came off his bike there. Now again, that is Jack Spranger, the U.S. champion. He had to walk it over the little crest. Smith of Great Britain still out front. Dux of Belgium in second. And now Aaron Dux takes the lead.
Yeah, nice little attack here. So in that short chicane, if you do it right, you can get some distance, and it's really difficult to be in a group. Everyone kind of stacks up into each other. It makes it hard to keep up with the rider who's really putting on the pace up front.
Here's what happened to Spranger a moment ago. Watch the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, it's like he was kind of caught up. He had the momentum of his body climbing that hill, really putting some effort into it, and when you can't go anywhere, the bike kind of stops underneath you. You have to reset. So luckily, chain didn't come off, and he was able to get going quickly.
Aaron Dux really pushing on the accelerator now. Smith in second place has been gapped, and then the group behind also a second or two removed from a group that was together just a few moments ago. They were a group of about 12 on the climb, and all of a sudden it just came apart as they hit the stairs once more.
And Dux, apparently one of the winningest cross riders. In Belgium, you can race as a Nieuweling. It means you're basically a beginner cross rider under 15 years of age. He was unbeaten in that category and had a big win against Haverding's earlier this season, but not too much lately. Had a DNF at one of the World Cups. So now he's trying to make up for that.
He's only been in the top 20 once at a World Cup. He was 18th a few weeks ago. As you mentioned, did not finish one. He was 40th in the first of the year. And now here he is leading at the World Championships.
It's important for Smith to try and close that gap. Otherwise, if they're both left alone, you know, Smith was on the front earlier, so he's definitely used up some energy. This is a big attack. Didn't expect to see, you know, that group to break up so quickly, but he's going to have to react to that. French rider, Laquet. Looks like that group is starting to back off a little bit. There's Kristen back to the front. Doc's the European champion in the juniors.
And now coming to the end of lap number 3. This will mark the halfway point of the race. 3 laps down, 3 to go. Doc's of Belgium has the lead. Nathan Smith of Great Britain in second in that white jersey. And the lead just a few seconds, 4 precisely. The next group led by Jan Christian of Switzerland. And they are about 10 seconds back. So you have a few different groups here. And you can go 9 places deep and find everyone still separated by no more than 13 seconds.
Big explosion in that kind of front end of the race. AJ August hanging strong. Jack Springer tailed off because of that incident on the short little rise. So you can see the effect of one small mistake.
And Haverding, remember, the Dutch rider, crashed on the opening lap after he was close to the lead, was looking very good at the time, and that dropped him back. He's in a group that's just about 20 seconds back, it looked like, as they were coming across that finish line. So he's got half the race left to go, 3 more laps. Can he make that up?
You know, the way that they're going at the front, it looks like no one's really willing to continue the effort. So Doc sat up, let the British rider Smith come up to meet him. Now he's able to follow a wheel for a second, but that just gave the chance for the group led by the Swiss rider Kristen to almost get there. And another Belgian teammate tucked out of the back. So we could have a group of 5 yet again, but it kind of shows what happens with a big attack. You get the initial gap. It looks like things might be over, but I think the course is really hard. It's hard to be out there alone. These corners still looking like there's some good traction. They stay somewhat moist just by virtue of where they are on the hillside. Maybe there's some water running underground, keeps things wet. You know, we were talking with some of the mechanics of Team USA, and they were counting the power washers that are in the pits. These pits are built based on what happened at the World Cup in October. 10 separate power washers with spares. Spaces for every single team to be washing multiple bikes at once. And a drainage system to keep that water out of the course. So, I mean, that kind of infrastructure and forward thinking really is a great testament to the energy and the people behind the Fayetteville World Cup and World Championships.
So it's a group of 5 on this climb. The calling card of the course, big crowd, a lot of noise, the best atmosphere any of these riders have probably ever participated in on as big a stage as they are racing in today. The World Championships in Fayetteville, as Christian of Switzerland now comes back to the front, ahead of Docs for Belgium, who's in the blue, and Nathan Smith of Great Britain in the white.
Looks like Vandenberg just got popped over the top of that climb, so only 1 Belgian left in the front group. You can see him just to the left side of the screen, losing the wheel. Looking at some, here's Haverding still trying to get back up there. He's got French rider Lesueur. Great to be with the rider on his way to the front, but you can't count on him getting all the way there just because these riders are so fast.
Jan Christian certainly a factor in this race for Switzerland. He's proven to be very robust here today, leading early on before getting caught up in the crash behind the big favorite, David Haberdings. And so he lost a little time there, but was still able to find his way back to the front of the race now, and he's leading for the second time. Has had to use a lot of energy, but still showing his deep reserve here.
And our French rider might not be in that group for very much longer, but here comes AJ August. Still holding strong, just in that second group. We're going to see this, expansion and contraction of this group, I think, by numbers quite a bit, depending. It just seems like the riders who are off by themselves in the front, not really getting what they need out of it. It seems like there's quite a bit of effort to be solo. Oh, little photographer getting in the way of our Swiss rider, Christian. Awesome to have fans going crazy for us, but you got to stay out of the way. You don't want to have any incidents happen. We saw that in the Tour de France with Oma and Opie. Aren't we all fans of Oma and Opie? Of course.
Who isn't? So Christian, Dox, and Smith here at the front on the stairs, up to the highest point on the course. So as we're now into the second half of the race, judging by what we saw in the first half, how do you see things playing out at this point?
Well, playing out with a nice little whip there from our Swiss rider. I think that second group is really, if they've got it in their legs to get there, it's going to be by the end of this next lap. But otherwise, we're looking at our medal fight between these three, especially with Christian able to get back to the front. You see him here on the front, just having a little bit of fun. There's a great history of whipping it in a World Championships. Zednek Stibar famously doing it in Tabor.
You got to make sure you land it, though. I mean, if that goes the wrong way,
I think
a little embarrassing, right?
It was so windy the last couple days that it was sketchy for riders to try it. Now it looks like they've gotten their chance. Get your Instagram ready. So that's our Danish rider, 42. That's Daniel Nielsen. The Danish have gotten a number of medals in junior cyclocross over the years, including World Championship with Simon Andersen. They always produce riders with a lot of talent, often going off to the road or mountain bike, but kind of cutting their teeth in cyclocross.
All right, coming to the end of lap number 4. 3 laps left to go. Christian of Switzerland, Dox of Belgium, and Smith of Great Britain, front 3 in the race. August of the U.S., top American, just outside the top 5 and just outside of 10 seconds down. David Haberdings, the outright favorite from the Netherlands who crashed on the first lap, has made up places. He's now in the top 10, but the problem for him, he's still half a minute back, 32 seconds down. And so in terms of time, he has a long way to go to get back to the front of this race. And here he comes now in the background there, the rider in the orange. By himself here, and this is a tough slog.
Salvaging a top 10, I think, is really probably one of the things he can count on. But beyond that, to get into the medals, he would have to really turn up the speed. You can see, even if they're battling together within themselves here, it's still, at a lap count, he's just going to run out of real estate.
Yeah. How well do you think these will work together, these riders here, cooperating at this point in the race?
Well, I think that they're the fastest right now. As it stands, as far as lap times go, they're all lapping faster than Haberdings. And, that just goes to show that they are the 3 strongest at the front, even without the incident for Haberdings.
Dox will take a pole. Christian had been doing the work, so it's now Dox out to the front. Smith still in 3rd there. And the Frenchman Lequet hanging on just off the back. coach was right around that corner a moment ago. What can a coach do at this point in the race when you're standing out there just in one spot? What can you really offer?
It's about reminding a rider what their plan was. You know, if you've got someone who's a great rider towards the end of a race, you tell them to be patient. You know, don't force it if you don't have an opportunity. If you've got someone who's got a great sprint, you remind them that they've got that they can count on that, and to save it up so that they can use it later. You know, I think for the juniors, you kind of have to learn a lot of lessons by yourself, and if a coach is there to remind you some of the basics and fundamentals in the right moment, that's really the best that they can do. The old adage is the best junior coach is the one who gets the rider to the start line on time, and then kind of let everything happen from there.
Now it seems like Christian and Dox are the two strongest riders. And it seems like Smith of Great Britain just a little behind them in terms of his level at this point as they're on the climb once again, and Christian really digging deep.
The American rider A.J. August had a national championships within his sight in Chicago. Had a bike issue right near the end of the race, and handled it with great poise to be able to continue on and finish in the medals. But you know, great chance to redeem himself with a shot at the top 5 on home soil. You know, this top 3 is not set. As long as they keep the pace up, however, it's going to be hard to get there. But those 3 riders chasing definitely are in with a chance of reconnecting. Looks like our Irish friend Harkness was able to get back going again.
Well, this is the first of 3 races today. The under-23 women are next, and then the men's elite race. But the crowd is already out. They are loud, and they are ready for cyclocross racing. They're not easing into the day. Let's just put it that way.
A lot of great stories about the crowd yesterday. Chanting when they see an American rider, of course, but also just keeping an energy level throughout the entire day that you just can't beat. And again, it's happening at a time when we haven't had that, and it just seems so great to be within it, you know, in and amongst it. So to be a rider like this at the front of a race, or even in the back, you know, they're definitely getting pushed along.
Only the second time the Cyclo-cross World Championships have ever come to the U.S. The first was in 2013 in Louisville, Kentucky. So this is just the second time in the 72-year history of the event it's been held here. And the folks here in Fayetteville, Arkansas have shown up. Terrific course, terrific weather. Outstanding 3 days of racing that started with the new team relay event on Friday, a test event. 3 races yesterday, junior women, under 23 men, and elite women. And it all concludes today. This is the first race of this Sunday. The junior men, followed by the under 23 women, and then the elite men to crown the championships. As Christian once again kicks out that back tire with a little flare over the hill.
I think we can hear that in our commentary booth right now. I heard the stomps of feet up the stairs. So we are here with everyone in Fayetteville. We're set up right at the finish line of watching this in person, bringing it to you live. And gotta say, if we could just be out there kind of in the middle, how about like right there? If we were just to be sitting on top of that rise, you know? Can we move things maybe for the next race?
I mean, there are so many good vantage points with the undulations on this course and the wide open terrain on some of the hills, the top of the stairs. You can also go down into the woods and see some of the cool corners on the descents and the climb.
Yeah, there really are a lot of great spots. And oh, here we go. So this is Christian kind of thinking more towards the finish. So if he's realized that 4th and 5th are probably not going to catch. So that was kind of his, like, where am I, you know, getting a little bit of a look over the shoulder. that will determine what he's going to be doing. You know, does he stay on the gas and keep pushing the pace, or does he kind of sit up a little bit and save some energy for what will be a sprint finish? So that really is a testament to
he is sitting up there,
being aware and not just head down, going as fast as he can. Yeah, he's really taking it all in. You know, as a rider, to be able to do that, it's the kind of thing that you watch a replay of yourself in a race and you wish you did it, but he was going for an attack. Oh, and he unclips.
Wow.
Full power. That, unfortunately, will not let him break that elastic. You've got the Belgian rider Dox just behind him, but we'll take another look at that. So he wound up for an attack, unfortunately popping out with his right foot. You know, that, who knows why it popped off, but that just showed his card as well. So he's shaking his head.
Now they wanted to attack at the beginning of the final lap, and that goes by the boards. Harding's, meantime, in the orange here after his crash in lap 1 is pretty much out of it. He is about 45 seconds down now. Those front three seem to be pretty much free and clear. They have a 13-second lead, 1 lap to go on everybody else. And here's Dox at the front. Christian now second, Smith in third. It seems like Nathan Smith is kind of just hanging on, barely on the wheels of these other two riders. Doesn't have the same strength that they do. Dox and Christian seem to be the two strongest at the moment. Christian has been doing most of the work at the front of the group, and now letting Dox come to the front with that finish in mind, as you said.
Yeah, he's starting to realize that if the Swiss rider Christian felt that confident that he could just attack once and be done, then he might as well accelerate a little bit, apply some pressure on this descent, and see if he can cause a mistake. Talking about creating opportunities for himself. That's a great way to do it. It's a counterattack off of someone else. Put him under pressure immediately. Don't give him a chance to rest a little bit. And he's able to continue with a small lead throughout the entire descent. You can see the Swiss rider always pushing the pace in those corners, but really not looking as comfortable as Dox does, the Belgian rider on the front.
So it looks like the medals will be shared by these three. It's just what color and what order. Dox, Christian, and Smith, first to third in that order right now. Next rider on the course is AJ August of the U.S. He's in fourth, 14 seconds down.
So they are a bit in no man's land. Out of the medals, but ahead of that chase group for now. They need to keep that pace up. They can't let that group catch.
Final time on the hill, and here comes Christian up the middle, looking for the lead.
Really not doing a great job of playing poker. Christian wants to use his power. He wants to try and get rid of these riders, but I think that Dox is proving to be a tough match. He's not giving an inch. Talking about Smith, 2 second places in the World Cups in Tabor and Dendermonde, but flatted while in the front with Haverdangs and Namur. So 7 wins for him this year so far.
Yeah, Nathan Smith certainly is the more accomplished of the riders when it comes to the World Cup this year. The 2 second places and 1 13th place, while Christian's best is a 9th, and for Dox, it's an 18th.
So he just carried this momentum straight past both Dox and Christian into this section. A couple tight little ruts they have to get through around this corner. He does it cleanly, and then right on the gas once again. So you can see that he just put Christian under pressure, and he might get rid of him right now and make this a 2-man race. First time we've seen him in a couple laps at the front.
Yeah, it looked like he was just hanging on for a few laps, and finally comes to the front. Dox matching his effort right on his wheel, and Christian with a little bit of a gap to his place in third.
He's been in Arkansas for a few days getting ready for this race. Maybe he was playing possum, you know? Maybe he picked that one up as a tactic, but definitely on the front now in these ruts. You see him causing a little bit of difficulty heading back towards the run-up for the final time.
Could come down to a sprint between these three. At this rate, everyone together, looking better and better, like that's what we might see.
There's the entire junior women's team from Team USA on that corner watching. They were out here yesterday morning. They know what this is like. They know what the course feels like. They know how hard it is. 6 laps for these juniors. Is a big one. Here comes a move from Dox on the run-up. I think this is going to be a 2-man finish. The Swiss rider, unless he's able to get around them right now, he's done for. Not much flair this time around. He's got
didn't seem to have it in the legs. He rode right over the crest and stayed glued to the ground.
Yeah, looking back, Dox maybe setting up for an attack. We've seen this finish in the last few events, so they know how this is going to go. But here comes Christian. He's going to try and attack into the hill.
Going up on the left-hand side, trying to catch him off guard. This is the big acceleration for the win. He's all in for the victory right here. It's all or nothing for Christian. It's either going to be gold or probably bronze.
Dude, he could have gotten the air out of that thing.
And it's up to Smith to catch back up. He can't match that pace of Christian. Dox right on the wheel. Christian out of gas. That took a lot out of him. There goes his sprint. Dox knows this. They're going to sit up. Smith is now back in the game.
So Christian's in a very tough spot. He made that acceleration. It didn't work. Dox on his wheel. Smith was gapped, but now he's back. Dox has been the most consistent of these 3 riders throughout the race in terms of staying on wheels, remaining in close contact with the front. Will it pay off now as they come towards the end?
Big
the chess game begins.
Christian signing for UAE to race on the road in the future. He's definitely got some big power. We've seen it with his attacks. Getting into the drops. All 3 of these riders now know that they need to sprint, not only for the medals, but which color. Here goes Dox.
Back onto the pavement. It's Aaron Dox of Belgium, sprinting for the rainbow jersey and a gold medal. Jan Christian digging deep. Smith in 3rd. Here comes Christian up on the right-hand side, and the Swiss rider pulls off the gold medal, the rainbow jersey, and an unlikely victory. What a win for Jan Christian at the World Championships.
Big sprint finish for those 3, but here comes AJ August going for 4th. He's going to be stuck back in 5th position behind the French rider Luque unless he can get around, and he is going to be a photo finish right there. Who knows?
Both on 20 seconds back of the winner. Smith basically collapsing at the line from the effort.
Smith coming through in 2nd, I believe, as far as I saw. We'll have to take another look as the timing gets settled.
But Jan Christian gets the victory. Boy, oh boy. The fact he went from distance and then it didn't work out means that he had to make multiple accelerations just in the final lap. Not to even bring into the conversation the accelerations from earlier in the race when he was leading. He got caught behind the David Harvarding's crash. He went down and he still won the race.
Marcus Shelton coming through. Dan English. 16th and 17th for those Americans. Great ride by the whole team. You can tell, very happy to be done. I think that 6 laps in this course would have put us in the hospital, Steve, but they were going so fast. I loved watching that sprint play out. We'll take another look at that in a moment. But huge victory. Also a country with a big history in cyclocross, especially in the juniors. You know, everyone talks about Belgians being, you know, the leading nation for many years. The Swiss, whether it was a young rider just coming up another sprint. You know, they had some of the best in the elite ranks. You know, one of the winningest riders of all time, Albert Zweifel, a number of junior world champions.
Well, Belgium and the Netherlands dominated the podiums yesterday. In every race, they had multiple riders on every podium, but today, all they have is one Belgium on the podium. That is Dox, while Christian of Switzerland gets the victory.
Here's Liam O'Brien coming across. Surely some of the fastest cyclocross racing he's ever been exposed to. This course, just world class in every respect.
Now Dox opened it up here as they got back on the pavement. Pretty long sprint.
Lead it out.
Decided to lead it out, but Christian came from that position right on his wheel. And somehow got the victory after so many efforts. Such a resilient ride by the young Swiss rider. And look at how close it was for the silver medal. And it looks like Dox takes it ahead of Nathan Smith.
Yeah, that was saving everything he could, trying to hold on to that silver medal.
So it's Christian, Dox, and Smith, gold, silver, and bronze. And here is Jan Christian, the new junior men's world champion.
Yeah, and you've just become the 2022 UCI Men Junior Cyclo-cross World Champion. That was some sprint at the end there. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was really hard. I was thinking Arne is a bit stronger in the sprint, and I was focusing on the last one lap, and then I tried it all in, and I win. I'm very happy.
What does it mean to take home the rainbow stripes for Switzerland?
Yeah, it's really amazing. There was one goal in the season, and it's the Worlds, and I only won this, so it's really amazing. I can't believe it.
How are you going to celebrate?
A party, maybe.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
Well, another look at it. And you thought, well, he had just attacked, and it didn't work out for him. What was he going to have left for a sprint, if anything? And this was it.
That was a big gap that he closed, and then slingshotted around Dox. He knew, as he mentioned, that he had to watch out for him in the sprint, but you know, he just ended a medal drought. A medal drought since back in 2005, but the last world champion, they had a run of 3 Swiss riders in a row. Roman, Peter, David Rush, and Michael Baumgartner in the late 90s. 1998 was the last time, and so for him to come away with that jersey, definitely showing those people back home in Switzerland that he's got it.
This was the crash of Haverding here. He was the favorite, was up near the front on lap number 1 before he went down, and then look at Christian right behind him. He also goes almost head first and was able to land on his feet, but still came off his bike. Haverding's never got back in the picture in terms of the medals, but Jan Christian, as we saw, certainly made his way back. That's another part of the story, too, is the fact that, I mean, think of everything that Christian had to go through to get the win. He was near the front early, came off his bike in the crash behind Haverding, and then had to close the gap. He had to make up all that time on Dox and also on Nathan Smith. And then once they got together, he was doing a lot of the pulling, and then he tried to break away a few times. He launched several sprints, and then at the very end, still somehow had a sprint to produce the win.
Well, he definitely was the strongest for sure. He proved us all wrong that he had been run out of energy, having enough for that sprint. But that was the eagle-eyed viewer. That was Zoe Backstedt, the winner of yesterday morning's race as world champion, comforting Haverdings.
Now, so difficult for him. He came in as such an overwhelming favorite, winning all 4 of the World Cups this year, undefeated, and then crashing on the first lap. as Christian Dox and Smith go 1, 2, 3. The top American is AJ August in the top 5. Spranger, the U.S. champion, 13th place, just behind the Canadian Luke Valenti. The North Americans here today with 11 entries in the junior men's competition.
Yep, all good rides by the Americans. See Marcus Shelton there, Dan English coming in top 20. Those both Northern Californians. You know, we've had a halt of racing for much of 2020. You've got kind of a truncated season in 2021. So any of the riders who made it to the start line here, you know, kudos to them, to the development programs that help bring them into these events. You know, trying to hold steady. It's always tough to keep motivation, but you can tell that winning a world title like this shows that all of that sacrifice is worth it. If you have the chance to win out of a sprint of 3 like that. Such action-packed last lap. I love, yesterday was amazing. Today's turning out to be amazing as well. Fans out in Fayetteville loving this.
Jan Christian, who was no better than 9th in any of his World Cup races this year. And now at the biggest race of his life, not just on the podium, but the top step. He's a world champion. He'll get the rainbow jersey and the gold medal coming up with the podium ceremony on the way shortly from here in Fayetteville. So many different moments in this race were key for Christian. Of all the racing we've seen here this weekend in Northwest Arkansas, the most dynamic and action-packed race by far. Now the under 23 women now on the course warming up. They will be next. It's just over an hour away from starting here at Centennial Park, Millsap Mountain in Fayetteville, Arkansas on this sunny Sunday, the final weekend in the month of January. Wrapping up the cyclocross season. And the riders getting set for the podium ceremony.
You've got the Belgian team used to winning at the elite level, fighting tooth and nail for a medal in the juniors.
And you have to remember, we always look at these junior races and even the under 23 races as the beginning of something big for a lot of the winners, that they're likely to go on to a decorated career and this is just the start. But in reality, you never know. A world championship at this level may be as good as it gets. You never know how an athlete's career is going to pan out. There could be injuries. It could be something else. So to savor this moment, you have to really, I think, stay in the moment if you're one of these riders and not think this is, it's potentially the start, but
yeah,
hey, this still means a lot too, to win a junior world championship.
Yeah, looking at the list of junior medalists over the last 25 years, there are quite a few names that I recognize as going on to being, you know, amazing riders in their own right, including someone like Steve R, as we mentioned. You know, Vanderpool winning twice, one of the few to win twice. Ben Tullett winning twice. But there's a bunch in there that, you know, they've gone on to do different things. Peter Sagan, you might recognize in second position. But, you know, there are also plenty of friends of mine in there that have gone on to, you know, they're just not in cycling as anything beyond what they do for fun. But I think that is what we see in a junior race like this. It's fun. Like, they are going as fast as they can. Yes, it's difficult. There's a lot of pressure on them in the moment, but if they're having fun, we saw Christian whipping the back wheel out over the jump almost every single time. So, you know, good for him to do both, win and have fun. definitely a lot of people take racing far too seriously. A lot of parents put too much pressure on an athlete to get results in a at an early age. You just got to keep them in the sport. It's the most important thing.
Congrats, you guys. That was an exciting sprint. Good job.
All right, they are prepped and ready, and the podium ceremony set to begin.
May we have your attention, please, as we begin the awards ceremony for the 2022 Walmart UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships.
Mesdames et messieurs, votre attention, s'il vous plaît, pour la cérémonie protocolaire officielle après le championnat du monde de cyclocross UCI Walmart 2022 pour les hommes juniors.
The medal ceremony of the 2022 Walmart UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships for the category of junior men will be under the eyes of our guest of honor, the UCI Vice President, President of the UCI Athletes Commission, and the President of the UCI Cyclo-cross Commission, Katarina Nash, and the CEO, Experience Fayetteville, Molly Ron. In third place and earning the bronze medal for Great Britain, Nathan Smith.
À la troisième place et remportant la médaille de bronze, Nathan Smith.
In second place, earning the silver medal for Belgium, Aaron Dox.
À la deuxième place et remportant la médaille d'argent pour la Belgique, Aaron Dox.
Place, winner of the gold medal and your new world champion for Switzerland, Jan Christian.
À la première place, remportant la médaille d'or et champion du monde dans la catégorie des hommes juniors pour la Suisse, Jan Christian.
Ms. Molly Ron will pass out the flowers to our three medalists. First, to Jan Christian of Switzerland. To Aaron Dox of Belgium. And to Nathan Smith of Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our champion, the national anthem of Switzerland.
Mesdames et messieurs, votre attention maintenant pour l'hymne national. Well done, guys.
Three worthy medalists here at the World Championships. Tim, what do you remember the most from this race?
just that nothing is settled until that final couple meters before the finish line. Great sprint by these three, putting together a race that we will all remember, and especially for the fans here in Fayetteville. Awesome to see the junior men out here having a great race.
And just getting started. 2 more races left to go. Up next, the women's under 23 and then the men's elite here on this Cyclo-cross Sunday in Northwest Arkansas. Beautiful day in the Ozark Mountains in this college town of Fayetteville as Jan Christian brings home the first rainbow jersey of the day. So that'll close things out for the junior men. Women under 23 on the way. Probably the most action-packed race we had over the first 3 days. And hopefully just the beginning of a full day of excitement and drama here at the World Championships in Fayetteville. In the end, it came down to 3 riders sprinting for the medals. They all knew they were going to get one, just didn't know which color and what order it would all shake out in. And in the very end, it's Jan Christian, just ahead of Aaron Docks and Nathan Smith, winning the rainbow jersey and the gold medal. Now for Tim Johnson, I'm Steve Schlanger. Thanks for joining us, everyone. The new gold medalists signing the rainbow jersey. We'll see you back for the women in just a while.
Can I just ask you?
Hard, challenging race through the snow, and look at how close it is in the end.